Jeremy bolted up the road as fast as he could. He pumped his legs, his entire body running on adrenaline. He ran up the hill that would normally cause him to struggle without hesitation and reached the farmhouse on the outskirts of town. He skidded to a halt and hammered frantically on the door. "Garden!" he called. "Oliver, open up! It's an emergency! Garden!" Quick footsteps were soon heard, and Garden flung the door open. What?" he slurred wearily. "Do you have any idea what time it is?" "Red's disappeared," Jeremy exclaimed. "I went by his house to pick something up, but he's gone. There's no note or anything." "You're jumping to conclusions," Garden attempted to soothe. "He's probably just gone out somewhere." "He's packed up all his things," Jeremy whined. "I'm really worried. Why would he leave so suddenly?" "Oliver," came a woman's voice, "is something wrong?" "Go back to bed, Joyce," Garden returned. "Everything's fine. It's just Jeremy." He stepped outside and closed the door so they could continue the conversation more privately. "Let's think for a moment. There has to be a rational explanation for this." "Rational," Jeremy huffed. "Right. Red doesn't always tell us why he does things, but there's always some reason for it. It's not like he would disappear for the hell of it." "Exactly," Garden chuckled. "Give him some time. He'll be back. You've got a job to get to today. You don't want to be late." "Yeah," Jeremy muttered absent-mindedly as he began to leave. "Yeah, I do." "Will you keep an eye out for Red?" Garden nodded. "And could you check on Isaiah for me later today?" Garden nodded again, though he really believed that Isaiah had long ago grown out of the need for anyone to check on him. He did check on him in the afternoon, though. Isaiah had stayed inside all day and seemed perfectly fine, so Garden left him again. As soon as his visitor had left, Isaiah returned to the cellar to continue cleaning up the mess. After all the rain they had been getting, several leaks had revealed themselves. Isaiah didn't want to bother Jeremy with it, since he was always either working so hard for the both of them or busy in the church. He wanted to take care of it himself, but his handiwork left something to be desired. Progress was slow. He used old clothes and towels to try and soak up any water that crept in, but it wasn't enough. If he could just have something better to absorb the moisture until he could fix the leaks! If he didn't get something soon, all the boxes in storage would be ruined. He walked across the wet ground and opened a cardboard box to find an old photo album. It was already starting to smell a little mouldy, but Isaiah didn't want to move everything upstairs because Jeremy would see it and feel obliged to fix the problem himself. "Potato Lord," Isaiah prayed quietly, "I know you've already done so much for us, but I really want to be able to do this without my brother. Please just give me a way to get some sponges, and I know I can fix the rest by myself." There was a soft splash behind him, and he spun around to find a pile of large sponges. They certainly hadn't been there before. A chill ran up his spine. "Hello?" he called anxiously. There was no reply. He cautiously picked up a few sponges and glanced around. There was no evidence of from where the sponges had come. Perhaps his prayer had been answered. "Thank you," he breathed. Isaiah began to scatter the sponges between the boxes to draw up the water. No matter how many he picked up, there were always more when he went back. It was an infinite supply. He used them to plug up all of the holes except for the one he was fixing at that time, and was about to set about trying to reseal it when he heard the voice. "I can give you anything you want," offered a woman. Isaiah jolted and darted his eyes about the room, but he was the only one there. "I can give you safety." Isaiah trembled from head to toe. "Who's there?" he queried. "I am your carrot goddess." It was as if she was standing right in front of him, but he couldn't see her. He could almost feel her reach out and touch his cheek. "Say that I am your goddess." Isaiah knew what he should have done. He should have refused her without a second thought. However, he couldn't speak. He could barely breathe. He hadn't been so firmly planted like the others, and he didn't have such a firm grasp on the belief that the Potato Lord was all they needed. It was a second-hand belief which he experienced through his brother. It wasn't strong enough for him to be able to stand up for it in the face of the opposition. All he could manage to do was hope that it would pass. "Please," the voice implored so sincerely and personally that Isaiah couldn't help settling just a little. I want to care for you. If you come into my arms, my power is yours." Isaiah still didn't speak. He didn't know what to say. He just silently prayed that the carrot goddess would leave him alone without him giving anything. "Remember my offer," the goddess sighed in resignation. "It will still stand when you need it the most." Isaiah felt her go. He could feel her presence slip away and leave him in the damp cellar by himself. It was strange. He had never felt so alone, and he couldn't help thinking that her being there was nothing for him to fear in the first place. After all, what had the carrot goddess really done? She hadn't hurt anyone. She just tried to feed them carrots. That wasn't a crime. Jeremy came home in the evening, immediately inquiring after Red. He was still so concerned with that matter that he didn't even notice the one growing with his own brother. "I'm really worried," he sighed. "What if it has something to do with the carrot goddess?" Isaiah made no comment. He was beginning to doubt his own sense of reasoning. He had just assumed that the carrot goddess was an evil force. However, when Jeremy spoke against her, Isaiah couldn't help feeling that the suspicion was groundless. He found it difficult to believe that the voice he had heard meant any harm. Ah, the sponges. I still don't completely understand what that was all about. Trinity scared me a little bit when he just up and vanished like that. I wasn't sure if he was receiving my private messages because he wasn't responding, and he just kept digging a hole in the middle of town and filling it with water. Again, I have no idea. I think there's a lesson to be learned from Trinity, though. Turn off Minecraft and go to bed early, kids, or you'll be ensnared by a dark deity. It's not that it took this chapter a long time for me to write. I just kept putting it off. It's actually a lot more work sometimes than it should be, because I make a lot of mistakes, and I gulp in a lot of air when I read aloud, so I burp a lot, so I edit out a lot of burps, and I edit out a lot of mistakes too. For example, Garden nodded again, though he really believed that Isaiah had long... Oh my goodness, Emily! This is your fault, you stupid cat. No, I don't know why. It just is. He just silently prayed that the carrot goddess would leave him alone without giving him anything. That's wrong! He was still so concerned with the matter that he didn't even notice the one growing with his brother. Oh my goodness! I'm really sorry. No, that's not right. It's not right. No. Corinne, no, I'm Corinne. You're Emily. Go off my headphones! Now get off the internet. Surely you have other things to do.